What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to UK troops laying to rest a British soldier killed in the US nearly 250 years ago. This video was recommended to me by a subscriber, but I don't really know the details surrounding this. From what I understand, these are the remains of a British soldier that died during the Revolutionary War on American soil, and a team of archaeologists actually uncovered these remains at the site for the Battle of Camden in South Carolina. Beyond that, I really don't know any other details, but I thought this would be a really interesting thing to check out because it's not every day you actually hear about the remains of a British soldier from the Revolutionary War being found on American soil. So I don't really know what to expect here, guys, so let's just go ahead and dive in and check this out.
A 21st century funeral for an 18th century Highlander on American soil.
We gather to recognize, memorialize, and reinter the earthly remains of 13 of the 14 found hastily buried in this dirt.
13? I thought it was only one.
Thousands turned out in South Carolina to mourn, and it was a funeral like no other.
Wow.
Honouring British and American sacrifices from the 18th century after archaeologists made a remarkable discovery. On this soil in 1780, the Battle of Camden claimed the lives of thousands. It was one of many hard-fought conflicts against British rule that eventually led to the creation of the United States of America.
This is not only a once-in-a-career, but never-in-a-career opportunity. So it's been such an honor and a privilege to be able to help understand who these individuals were and how they may have died. The Highlander was our deepest buried individual, much more than the other individuals. Some people were this far below the surface. You could really witness from the burial context how hastily buried they were, and historical accounts of some not having been buried at all. The day that we exhumed him, someone brought a bottle of scotch to commemorate the event and give him a toast.
Soldiers from 2nd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, flew over especially to be pallbearers for the remains of one of those unearthed here. His heritage traces back to the British 71st Regiment of Foot, Fraser's Highlanders, a Scottish regiment formed for the Revolutionary War.
It's something that's very humbling and I think thought-provoking in terms of thinking back at the history, and then also hundreds of years later being able to be involved in giving the soldier the send-off he deserves is something that I'll be proud in years to come of.
Across all three services, we have 850 service personnel across 30 states out here, working and literally, hand in glove, the closest military relationship we have, working extremely closely with all of the US services. It's a relationship we really cherish.
So we're all operationally experienced soldiers, but to lay a soldier to rest in the battlefield where he died almost 250 years ago, I think adds a sense of significance for us, and it's not lost on us that we've got soldiers in our battalion who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in recent operations as well.
We're just mesmerized by the fact that Great Britain chose to fly them here from Scotland to do this. I think for both nations, it's important to reconnect with our history and understand who we are, how we got here, how then we transition from enemies to close friends. And the mood in the town of Camden and in Columbia yesterday is just palpable.
In the days before the ceremony, a convoy carrying the soldiers passed through the local community, giving people of all ages the chance to pay their respects.
We read the information and we knew what was to be expected, but I just wasn't prepared for the emotions of it all, because there was not a pin, you could not hear a thing drop out here. It was silence.
We're headed to Fort Jackson. That's where all of the US Army's soldiers do their basic training, and we're expecting to see hundreds of them come out to pay their respects to the soldiers in what will be the finale of the convoy. And it's just been incredible to see the response, to see the connection. And what a turnout when they arrived. Hundreds of personnel were keen to catch a glimpse of the convoy. Fort Jackson's commander, Brigadier General Kelly, was moved by the chance to honour them.
That's right, our ancestors.
So what more do we know about the British soldier? I've come to meet a former US Army sergeant who's now a reenactor and military historian.
It probably enlisted in 1775, 1776. So he had already been soldiering for 4 to 5 years. And the 71st, they marched everywhere. They covered the entire state of South Carolina at one time. So the British Army always used them as the shock unit coming into a battle because they were greatly feared.
What do you think he would have made of all of this?
So they were used to death. Death was an everyday occurrence and a partner in their life. So I think he would have been happy to see it as a ghost standing there going, yeah, I appreciate that, chaps.
The remains of the American soldiers will be kept with the US Army and the Highlander with the South Carolina Battleground Trust until a cemetery can be created at the site where they will all be buried together. Jean Gweszczak, Forces News, Camden, South Carolina.
Wow. I love to see things like this, guys. It just goes to show how, like they said, it was a rough start, between the British and the Americans, but, over time grew into the greatest of allies and, like no other. It's just amazing. But I'm actually surprised. What I was thinking was that this British soldier, he was actually from a Scottish regiment of, I forgot what they exactly called it, but I thought he was going to be flown back home, but he's actually going to be buried on American soil, That's wild, guys. I don't really have a lot to add to this. It's just, it's just one of those moments I just caught myself, tearing up, and it's just like, I just like the camaraderie, I really do. And I'm glad that there's such respect between the militaries in both our countries and, obviously the citizenry as well. But guys, this is really cool. And I'm happy that, they'll all be able to have a proper burial finally. That's a shame that, all those years ago, they just, quickly buried them, some as close to an inch under the ground. I think actually, didn't they say the British soldier was the one that was on top with the shallowest grave? I think that's what they said. So it's really good that he'll finally get the respect he deserves and be honored with a proper grave. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.